Hey guys. Um, Everybody that usually watches these videos knows me as Dr. Dojinshi. You know, the guy that reviews hentai. But today, I want to take a little bit more of a serious tone towards this because if any of you have any sort of social media or keep up with it in any sort of way, you'll know that Kentaro Miura, aka the author of Berserk, has passed away. And I know I'm definitely not the guy that anybody wants to hear this from. Oh, you talk about hentai, you make a lot of jokes, you really want to do all these sorts of things, but you just want to have a ton of fun. But I want to pay my respects in the best way that I can by hopefully spreading knowledge of this amazing series that was written by a person I don't claim to have known, to have no knowledge of, but has made one of the longest lasting memories of this entire series that I've ever read and has been a staple in my collection for the longest time. I wanted to say that this man made one of actually my favorite series that I've ever owned. The first manga I ever owned was volume 13 of Berserk. And the reason it was 13 is because that's where the anime had stopped. I remember when I was a kid, when I when I just got into high school, a lot of people that I knew that I was friends with were watching anime and I wanted to get into it. So I did what everybody normally does. You use that dumb child logic to be like, oh, if you want to find something, then you can find it on YouTube. So I looked up Berserk on YouTube after watching the death battle between Guts and Nightmare because he seemed very interesting and I liked his design and everything that he was doing. So after watching that, I went on YouTube and I found it, and I found this one uploaded series of the entire thing where it was sped up by like 0.25%, and just enough to where the voices were higher and the action happened really fast. And I watched the entire series like that, all the way to the end. And I remember thinking, like, that was an amazing series. It was the 93 anime that I watched. And then at the end of it, when it got to the eclipse, I was so distraught and angry that it ended there that I had to buy the manga. I bought volume 13 because that's where it picked up afterwards. And after reading that, I knew that I had something special on my hand. It was the first manga I ever owned. I am a huge comic book nerd. I'm a huge manga reader. And after reading that, I started saving up every dollar I had, and I would give it to my mom and ask her to buy something on Amazon for me, and constantly convincing her to buy me the next volume until I got my own account and I started buying them by myself. And now my entire collection currently sits behind that blue screen that I use for everything. Not even a blue screen, you can see it clearly. Um, I make these series in a very joking, not serious way. And I just wanted to. My introduction to Japanese media, like most people, was Pokemon, Dragon Ball, Naruto, all that sort of stuff. But my introduction to the medium that I love to this day, dark fantasy, uh, stories that take years to finally get to where they're going and have the amazing writing that they do. The reason I know what well-written stories are is because I read Berserk. Berserk is the first manga I ever owned. It's the best manga I owned. It is the one of the greatest stories I've ever read. It is my personal favorite manga of all time, and it is my one of my, if not my favorite, form of written media that I currently own. And I wanted to I wanted to make this video not to I'm always afraid that I'm going to end up making a video about something that's current and then act like I'm trying to capitalize on some suffering. Like when Kobe died, I wasn't very interested in sports, but a lot of people were personally hurt, and I didn't understand why. I Because I wasn't a part of the group that shared his life. And rest in peace if any of you out there do enjoy everything that he does. And I know he was a good person that later did everything that he did, leaving a legacy behind that nobody else could get. And when I read the news late last night, it was almost midnight, and I was about to go to sleep, and I checked Twitter one last time and saw that he had passed away. Uh, I know it doesn't do a lot, but uh, but my my prayers go out to any of his family, any of the people that were close to him, and everybody that did did have any sort of connection to him. I hope you're all I hope you're all having an easier time with this, and my condolences for an amazing writer, an amazing artist, an amazing storyteller, and somebody who has personally shaped my my enjoyment of everything that I have. Uh, I wouldn't have half the collection I would if I didn't find Berserk. If I hadn't found Berserk, I'd probably own no manga. The stuff behind you right there, Dead Man Wonderland and One Punch Man, I probably wouldn't have bought that if I hadn't realized that there are stories out there that are so good that you need to own them physical book by physical book. Look, you understand that they cost a lot. You're still a kid. You don't have a ton of money. So you take the money that you have and you try to spend it wisely on about 3 hours worth of reading. Thank you, Kentaro Miura, for your amazing storytelling, your amazing art, and everything that you've done. I know I'm not the guy that anybody wants to hear this from because I do goofy videos about goofy stuff, but I wish I could leave as big of a legacy as he has. Somebody who changed the face of his industry by being as good at what he does as him. Thank you for what you've done. I hope the only thing that you can focus on right now is my eyes, and I'm looking around, and I hope I hope I'm not throwing anybody off. This was a series that was near and dear to my heart. I understand that it probably won't have an ending, and I don't care that it won't have an ending. He left the story on an amazingly high note with good happening for everybody. People had good happen to them, and the story ends with goodness in everyone's life. I can only hope that the peace that everybody feels in the story is the peace that he feels right now. Thank you for somebody who changed my life personally, and thank you for changing others' lives with your amazing storytelling. I really hope my next video can be a little bit more upbeat than this, but for now, let's just all take a moment to respect a living legend who brought us one of the best stories in fiction, and let's respect a master with his craft. As a lot of people have said, Berserk is a story about struggle and how you can struggle forward. What has happened recently is sad, and the world will move on. But let's not forget some of the greatest people, some of the greatest authors and artists the world has ever known. Thank you, Kintaro Miura, for everything, for your for the work that you've put in for a story that has affected me since I first read it, and for somebody who didn't find it in conventional means, for somebody who now uses the medium of Japanese media for incredibly dumb things. But just to let you know, I wouldn't be who I am right now without the exposure that I got from this series. This dark, depressing, messing, amazing series with top tier everything in it. Thank you. If I could, I'd do more, but at the moment, all I can give you is my thanks and my admiration for somebody who created the best series I've ever read and who has personally affected my media habits. I'm dragging this out. I don't. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Peace.